Hey everyone watching, welcome to our first ever Artist Spotlight. I'm Jey, lead publicist here at Presstown Media, and we're highlighting some of the best music in the Canadian music scene. And I'm excited to introduce you to our first guest on the show, an artist we've had the pleasure to work with before, Drew William, or as some of you know him as, Drew Wolitarsky.
What up, what up? Good to be here. Jey, thank you for having me.
You're
I owe
welcome.
Presstown a lot. You guys really helped me out with my first release, my recent EP, Room. That was huge. Just kind of getting to know everything, how it works. As a new artist, it could be a lot to handle, and I come to you with questions all the time. So good to be here, and yeah, glad we connected.
Yeah, no, and it's my pleasure to help you and other artists along for sure. It's what I love to do. So do you want to just give us an introduction as to who you are and what you've been up to during this pandemic?
Sure. So my name is Drew Wolitarsky, but my stage name is Drew William. Just thought that would be easier to remember. Wolitarsky is long in Polish or Prussian or some
Eastern
white country
European.
over there. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm from California, Santa Clarita, California. And the way I describe my hometown is if you've ever seen Sons of Anarchy, if you've ever heard of Six Flags, Magic Mountain, that's my hometown. Um, and it's basically this valley between Santa Monica and I don't know, the Palm Desert, right? Like the valley between in this very hot place in the summer and can be very cold at night. That's what's interesting about the desert. I went to Minnesota for college or uni, as we say in Canada. And then I moved up to Winnipeg to play for the Winnipeg Bluebombers. So I've been playing with them for 4 years. And as we know, this season didn't happen. So I've really been pursuing music. We actually got in contact with you, I think in like August or September early.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just kind of collaborating on that whole deal. And I was going to do two singles, but you like 4 weeks before my second release were like, hey, EP, this interviewer will only do people with EPs. I'm like, well, I guess I'm recording two more songs. Let's go.
No pressure.
So that's where I'm at right now. And I'm actually just going to release two new songs here in April, on April 16th. And that will be, I think, my last release until I dive into something a lot more matured, I would use as a word. I've been doing my own mixing and production, and I think it's time to collaborate and get some more inspiration outside myself. I think that's huge in growth of music, is kind of letting other people in
Mm-hmm.
and building that team around you. I mean, I've been a part of a team my whole life. I know
That's
what a good team can do. So definitely that's kind of my energy, where I'm putting my energy right now, is building that up.
mm-hmm. So how are you feeling without a season coming for the Bombers?
You know, last year was a very disappointing. The worst part was the anticipation, like will we, kind of being
Mm-hmm.
dragged along in that sense. I didn't really waste time. Like I did train and I was ready, but at the same time, I wasn't going to really bank on the fact that it would. So that's when I started, recording and getting a recording equipment, stuff like that. I don't usually like sulk in stuff. Like I do feel that pain of that, and it is sad to lose something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a thing that I think about every day. I mean, that's so ingrained from day one. But at the same time, there's this excitement to what else can I be? What else can I do? And it's exciting when I'm seeing progress, and this is something that I love to do, which is music. Taking that same mindset and drive and putting it into something else, and you realize it's universal, and it's just really like who you are and how you're trying to express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's really important, because the medium can change and the
Yeah.
art can change, whatever it is.
At least in the pandemic, it brought out another passion in you. So,
Yeah,
it worked out in
exactly.
some way, right?
It did. Like I would never think that I'd be producing my own stuff. 3 years ago, no chance. Like I didn't even know what a click track was.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? No, exactly. Like it's amazing if I love it. So like I don't think it's work, but I really spend 6 hours a day on stuff. I'm just like, damn, did I really do that for fun? You know what I'm saying? But that's how you know, like that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I know you're busy doing your weekly quarantine campfires, live stream performances. I thought, those are really a great way to keep engaged with your audience and just keep in touch with them. Do you plan on continuing to do that now?
Yeah. So the reason for that was kind of to keep people connected. A lot of my fans right now are in Winnipeg. So what I'm gonna do is the actual curbside concerts. So kind of taking that campfire idea to your actual house or backyard or whatever. Last year I did them, super fun. You meet incredible people that way. I mean, I was out in the farmlands, like in areas that I never would go to usually, and meeting tons of different people from different parts of Winnipeg, kind of hearing their backstories. The Midwest is trippy, man. The Midwest is a trip. If you're from Cali and you come here, it's like, it's different, man. And for all
For
those
sure.
who've traveled like and go to cities, it's cute because, man, everyone's like so sweet, right? And so loving, and like that's common. At least that's what you're going after. But we all have our different quirks, man, and like and the different rules and terminology. It's pretty neat, man. It's funny.
So like a
It gets
small
me
town vibe, I guess.
It is so much so. Like I have people sometimes reach out and be like, "Hey, ran into this person. Your name came up." Blah blah blah. Like I haven't had that since I was in my hometown. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In Minneapolis, like there's too many people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger, but it's not huge. LA, massive. Like
Yeah.
here, it's like you'll definitely see someone.
Yeah.
Like you go to the mall, you're seeing someone you know. You go to
Yeah.
the Forks, you know.
It's kind of funny because
That's
Montreal's like a metropolitan city, but it has that small town kind of feel because the same thing, like everyone kind of knows each other, you know, it's just like a small community vibe, but in a big city, in a huge music city. So
and that big mountain just keeps you right in the center of it, man. That's like a volcano. It looks like a volcano.
Mont Royal, is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the
That
cross
thing,
on
it
it.
looks like an emerald wave about to just crush the city.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When was the last time you were in Montreal?
2 years ago, it would have been for a game.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, we travel there all the time. My parents always make that game because they're from there. So
Right.
my dad wrote me a real nice note before the game we played. I think it was the first time I played there. And it was like, I came here as a kid basically and dreamed of like playing. And now I'm seeing my own son play. He's like, this is the
Oh,
craziest feeling.
that's amazing. What a nice feeling for parents.
That was cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, you know, having said that, a lot of people know you more as an athlete. So tell us more about your music background. Like, when did you start playing? How did you learn? Are you self-taught? When did you
All
start writing?
right. Yeah. See, I don't always like to say when I started because I feel like that sometimes kills my rep, but I'll just be honest. I only started playing 3 years ago.
That's amazing.
Like I only started playing guitar 3 years ago. I sang my whole life for fun. Like, you know, I'm screaming Blink-182 in the car, obviously. Come on. But seriously, singing and like even to where I'm at from where I started, way different. Even the last 3 weeks of us working together, different.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like people have to help you find your sound, if that makes sense. Like I had an idea of what I wanted, but you're like, hey, try smile when you're singing. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, this is way different. I'm like, there are techniques and there are like tricks and things that are just gonna brighten your everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're first starting, you have a very big insecurity because you've never done this before, right? And you're putting
Right.
yourself out there and you know you're not the best. Like, and so it comes a time when you're like, okay, when am I ready to take criticism and like take this to the next level? Because it's gonna happen. Like, and if it doesn't, you're just gonna stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
Exactly.
I'm at that point where I'm confident in myself that I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I really do, and I can do this. But like also help me get better because I know I can.
Mm-hmm. But 3 years is really impressive. And I know you're the type of guy that likes to, you know, learn everything and do everything on your own. So, you know, 3 years of recording and writing your own songs and playing, and the way that you play too is amazing. Have you been playing since you were younger, or that just came 3 years ago?
Oh no, I just started playing 3 years ago. Yeah. Like
Amazing.
music
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
I have a I had a great setup life-wise for learning music. And this is why. Number one, I moved to a new city and had zero friends. That is huge. If you have time, you
Yeah.
have the ability.
That's it.
Number two, I was on the practice roster when I first got here 3 years ago. So I was home for away games. The whole team was gone. I had 3 or 4 days basically off. That's a huge thing for music. And then my off seasons are 6 months long.
Right.
Like it's on and then it's totally off. So I had 6 months and you know, I just went to town with that guitar. Like,
Yeah.
I brought that thing everywhere I went.
Yeah.
I just have a very quick mind. So like I like to fidget and stuff. So guitar it's absolutely perfect because I'm just messing around by myself, making noises like a freaking 3-year-old. Like it's nothing. Still a 3-year-old.
Like my son.
Yeah, like on a more advanced level, really.
Yeah. No, but it's crazy because even the riff that you're playing in the beginning when we're talking, like it sounds like you've been playing for more than 3 years, maybe 10 years or something, you know?
Yeah, that's honestly good to hear. That's sweet. Because
Yeah.
that's my goal. I'm trying to catch up. So I'm trying to get there and at least be in a position where I can give myself a chance.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that I told you to do an EP instead of 2 singles or whatever for your next release, you're like, yeah, I could do it. I'm like, are you sure? And you did it, banged it out. I was like, all right, let's do it.
I think you bring up a good point. Like when I just say yes, then I'm like, oh shit, okay, I really have to do it.
You work on that
Sometimes I'm
adrenaline.
like, oh no, man, what did I do? But it always works out, so I trust that. Like, just say yes and then figure it out. I think you sent me the thing that said that recently, or I don't even know, but
Yeah,
like that's like Aries, bro. Like, just say yeah and just
learn later. Yeah, and just figure it out later. That's it.
Someone knows.
So you love music. Who are your musical influences and why? What have you been listening to lately? Tell me what's on your playlist.
Listening to lately a lot of really chill folk stuff. A lot of acoustic. I love The National. Like The National's one of my favorite bands. Matt Berringer is he's got a beautiful baritone voice. I love the sonic instrumentation. It's really good. Everything they do is good. Mumford, I love, man. Yeah. I love the old 80s songwriters though. Like I love Croce. Honestly, why did he have to crash in a plane? That's just messed up. Cat Stevens. Beautiful man. It's a beautiful guy, bro. Like The Wind is the most pure song in the world. 1 minute and like 20 seconds of absolute purity. You're like, geez, man.
Damn. You got a little influence from Bob Dylan too, eh?
Bobby D, man. Bob Dylan, for so much more than just his music though, like, and here's a crazy thing. I lived in the same apartment building as Bob Dylan at the University of Minnesota. Wow. I shit you not. This is even before I started playing music. And he basically lived in Loring, what is now called Loring Pasta Bar, and it's on the corner of Dinkytown, but it used to be apartments. And then the apartments I moved into were basically reconstructions of some old apartments from like the 30s. Okay? Wow. And someone's like, yeah, like Bob Dylan used to live in these apartments. I'm That's like, no. Crazy. So I'm like, damn, I really got the spirit of Bobby in me because I never even picked up a guitar. And that was my senior year. Next year I came to Winnipeg, a guitar just came in front of me like, hey, do you want this free guitar? I'm like, sure. And then the rest took off.
That's the universe sending you messages.
Yo, and then like I throw out some Bob Dylan ass song the other day. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely everything was coming together for you. Synchronicity, I think.
No, I feel that clicking.
Yeah. That's a cool story though. Did not know that.
It is.
Awesome.
Yeah. And he tried to go to like school there and he's like, no, this ain't for me, bro. He was not on campus. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was meant to do something else for sure.
I think he even sings about our school, about the armory at our school or something. Neat. It's awesome. Cool. I like that history.
Yeah. So, I resonate a lot with your music and who you are as a person. You and I have spoken a lot about life experiences, energy to an extent, spirituality and personal growth. Would you say that these types of personal and esoteric themes are things that we'll keep hearing in your music?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's funny. Like I will really have some old soul stuff come up sometimes and I'll be writing and I'll have some instrumentation. Like I'll play this one. I'll just play this a little bit, but this is one that I'm like done with. I'm like, damn, that was Dylan for sure. I don't want to say that because I'm not trying to compare myself to Dylan, but I'm saying like this felt old, if that makes sense. When wisdom is a gift disposed to the children, we seem to lose as we get old. The problem is we're chained to remember the fears they taught these knowing souls. But what if we live in silver lining. We never starve, no, go hungry again. And where do we search for heaven? Is it in the skies above, or in this heart of mine? So I'm like, damn.
Look at you,
old,
just
man.
pulling out that guitar.
I got my arsenal.
So do you want to do a curbside concert here in Montreal or what?
Oh my God, I'm trying to tour Montreal, man. That's one of my favorite cities. Yeah. I love Europe, and like it's got that charm.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, you got to make it happen soon for sure. So here at Presstown, you recently released your EP and your single, Everybody. That was the first one you released on Spotify, right? Everybody. I think that was like your debut single. Yeah. And your EP, Room. And you quoted these songs are little views of this long drive of life. So tell us more about that, each of the songs on the EP, and what inspired you to write those songs, and why did you call it Room, your EP?
Great question. I love this question. Okay, so I love road trips, man. I always drive home from Winnipeg to California. Like I love stopping in the States and like posting up at gas stations, leaning up against your car, just like that. You're just like, dude, man, like that's such a vibe, such a feeling. And I love to just sit and listen to music or in silence and just think about where I am, where I'm going, what are my plans, what are my dreams. You have so much of this time, and you make these pit stops, like see people in Arizona, Denver, Albuquerque, and you hang out and you play music and you eat and you chill and whatever you want to do, you do, man. And it's just this freeing feeling. Like when you have that freedom, you just are like, I have no worry in the world. Like the only thing coming out of me right now is honestly being a kid. Like I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
And I've been so worked up with the music. Like when I'm in that producer studio, I turn my brain in a different way. I get more critical, not in a bad way, but like I get more critical, I get more scientific and exact and like, no, this is off, precise. But now like I'm just in my room surrounded by my guitars and my ukulele. And I'm just like plugging into the amp, having fun, like finding different sounds. I told you this, I needed to get these two songs I'm releasing off my chest. Like we had been talking about maybe working with another producer and fixing the structure. I'm like, you know what? Like I put 30 hours into these songs each. I need them off my chest. Like I just need them gone. And they're at a point where I really do enjoy them. Are they competitional, on for radio? No, they're not. But at the same time, I like them, and I know people are going to dig them and feel what I put into it. And so for now, like that was cool with me. And that was part of what I needed to grow and get out of, so I can move on to that next level and make competitive music. That's still my music, and finding that balance and crafting it and learning the craft, because it is a craft.
Yeah.
To my best of my ability.
I dig the songs. I like them.
Hey, me too. I dig them a lot, man.
When you first sent it, I'm like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. The cover that you did, though, we'll talk about it later, but that cover you did was very much in your style and completely different than the original, So, that's amazing.
That was fun. That was a fun project.
Yeah. But talk to me about Everybody. What was that song about?
So Everybody was pretty much at a time when we were all really secluded. I think we were feeling very alone. I personally was. I was like in the midst of winter, code red, lockdown, like you weren't going anywhere, missing my family, alone in the city. And I'm like, dang, I really felt this loneliness. And it's interesting that song came out of me during that time. Like I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
But I just remember like playing these really happy riffs in my room. I was just honestly trying to like feel some light, man. This just felt like really like bright. And then I just like ad-libbed, I think like what works here? Everybody, I wanted a nice repeating something. What if everybody saw more than their sight? And really, I feel like all music is a song to yourself. Like you're trying to just
Yeah.
teach yourself a lesson. So it was this song, like, what if everyone saw with different eyes? Like, what if we change our perception? I use the lines, world's on fire, bake a cake, world's on ice, learn to skate. And it's just this adaptability that we have as humans to see a circumstance and flip it on itself. Like
Yeah.
the world's on fire, we could, run into it and panic and like, or we could get some dough, put it in a pan, bake a cake, celebrate. Like it's cheesy, but it's witty and funny and like it works for the song. And I think this song is just kind of bright and
No, but
uniting.
you're definitely an excellent songwriter. And when I was sending your stuff to the pubs, that's, I think one of the most common feedbacks I got was that you have a really, really great skill in writing. So, they really love that. So they're excited to hear more. So I'm excited to send them more. But
Okay.
it's really interesting that, all the artists that I'm working with, everyone's kind of did a song during this pandemic about the pandemic and what's going on around them. But everyone has these different perspectives, which is really, really cool.
That is cool.
I have a song that's a happy one, but kind of talks like a sad and happy vibe. And then, there's yours about the loneliness. And then I have other artists who speak about, people fighting and then all the stuff that's going on with social justice and things like that. So everyone's inspired, I guess, by this whole craziness.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I love how art's being made from the pain. Like that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
what I love about my job. When you guys send me music, I'm just like, bring it on.
Damn, that actually is really cool, man.
Yeah.
Songs that no one may ever hear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You hear them all, man.
I got VIP.
Cool, man. That's cool.
In Room.
Oh, Room. Okay, so Room is half a joke. The songs aren't a joke. The name is kind of a joke, an inside joke, but as well as like room to grow, right? So I actually moved into a place here right when I got here in June. I needed a place ASAP. Like I needed proof that I had a place to stay here so I can quarantine. So I got a month-to-month place, and it was in like downtown Winnipeg, kind of like an older area. The building didn't have any AC. I was in a basement unit, hot, like sweaty. It was bad, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm in there for 2 weeks, honestly, by myself. People bringing me groceries. Thank God for those people. And I'm just joking with everyone, like, man, this has to be the room where like Heath Ledger turned into the Joker. Like, I'm about to come out of here crazy, man. And so I always just refer to it as room, the room, right? The room. Like, you knew where I'm talking about if I'm talking about room. And I moved out of there, moved into this nicer place and whatever. And as I was like, damn, I wonder what I should call this EP. Like, I was thinking of all these things. And then joking, I'm like, man, I should call it Room. Like it works on two levels, like it's room because I needed this room to grow and move on from the loss I was feeling. And also like, it's kind of funny because I literally was in a room when I got here. So, and I've been in a room. We've all been in our rooms. Like room, it has so many connotations right now. I was like, it's perfect.
Yeah, it has a double meaning. Yeah. And when I saw your cover, what I thought it was, like the meaning of room, I really thought it was just like you writing in your room, and that's why you called it Room,
Yeah, but that's the essence of it. Like it's very intimate. It's like right here, right here.
Yeah.
That's cool. Cool percent. I like that view of it though. That's dope. Because it's all like my typewriter, dude, which honestly, I love that thing. It's so fun.
No, that's such a great cover though. It's very you, and it's very simple. It's very intimate, like how you are, that's how your music is. So
I'm glad I could have, whatever the word is for that, get that out there, man. Probably, I don't even know, man.
Yeah, mine and Stefan's favorite song on the EP was Man Makes His Borders. So talk about that song a little bit.
That's another old soul song. And I think that one was coming just from my own feeling of the ego inside of me. Like, I think in every artist is that ego of like, what if this takes off, right? What if I like blah, 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 if I take off, like, what if I tour the country, whatever, like that's in everyone's mind, or else you wouldn't be pushing yourself so hard. Like you want to get your song heard, man. Like you want to share it with the world, right? But at the same time, I'm like, that's not why I want to do this. So it was kind of this like fight against my own ego. And in the song is a guy speaking on behalf of the same concept. and about man limiting himself from his true potential, like making his borders literally.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like it could be like looked on a wide scale, like kind of the separation of us versus them, and me versus the world. And that is literally making borders within yourself. When you think like that, when you think a wall is protecting you, all you're doing is dividing, all you're doing is enclosing yourself, imprisoning yourself. So it was this kind of melancholy, folky, harmonic, very acoustic sound of a guy spilling out his truth of his life, how he chased the wrong things,
Right.
and how he found that in the end, like none of these things hold, you know, none of these treasures hold. And that what is important is love, is people, is meaning, is purpose, is music, you know, like. And so that was a cool song for me to sing. And I really think of myself or anyone singing that song on like some type of tin pot singing on the street, like people walking by, like three people stop and listen, but like really hits those three people
Yeah.
and they really hear it, because it's not a song that's going to pull you in off the radio. It's something you want to sit down to and listen to deeply, and really listen to lyrics. Like I put a lot of time into lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
I love to write, but I also want it to be perfect
Yeah.
and really tell that message. So I would say if you are a lyrics person, listening deeply and closely is very important to my music, I think.
I would say you're a poet. You know, the way that you write, like even in your journals, sometimes when you're like sending me stuff and I'm like, geez, this journal sounds like a poem, you know? Not just like a regular journal entry where you're like mind dumping, you know?
I know. It's very stream of consciousness. I even speak that way. I think I've just built a language like that's musical. I just love spoken word. I love the power of words, like the right words in the right moment, like they're so powerful, you know what I mean? And we've all been hurt by words, like, you know, the power of them.
For sure.
Imagine what you can do changing that power around and doing it for good. Like that's what you're putting into the world,
Yeah.
creating, and you have that power to do that.
Yeah. And I love that. And
But
that's why I like your energy, you know, because you have that depth and you think consciously about that stuff. So that's really why it resonates a lot for me. So that's amazing.
but we also have to be careful. And I've learned this because you do know the power of words. Sometimes you give words you don't mean. And that's the hard part, is like
Yeah.
only saying what you truly mean. Sometimes you want to say things because you know they have power, but at the same time, are they true? And
Mm-hmm.
so like as someone who
Yeah.
knows that, that's where you get in trouble. I've gotten in trouble before, but I think we all have to learn, like, okay, that's the boundary, that's the cutoff. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a learning lesson, but
Yeah.
that should be an important thing. Side
Yeah.
note.
Side note. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Everything is a lesson. Even if it's a mistake, we're all, you know, meant to learn from it. So we intuitively say things, you know, because they just come out. But at the end of the day, it's why did we say that? It's probably because we had a lesson to learn, you know? So.
Yep. Why? Hey, if you ask why, you'll end up at the beginning of time, man. That's where
For
you need to
real.
get to, though. That's where you need to go. That's where you need to go.
That's it. That's it.
That first
So,
time, man.
yeah. So you've got a few things coming up soon, right? You've got singles, you got a show, right? Tell me about that.
Got two singles, and I kind of put them together as like a couplet, if we're talking literary terms. Thousand Bad Times and a song called California Coastline. A Thousand Bad Times being the cover of a Post Malone.
Mm-hmm.
California Coastline, going back to my roots, I think I described California Coastline as a throwing of a bottle into the sea, and I'm naming the actual two-song, I guess, release, Message in a Bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And it had this element of writing what you have to write, saying what you have to say, putting it and tucking it away, right? Removing it from yourself, detaching yourself from it, and just tossing that into the sea, this
Mm-hmm.
massive kind of pool of all those bottles floating, right? Your story
Yeah.
amongst many stories, but still your story. And just kind of moving on without closure. Sometimes you have to make your own closure. And I think that's kind of the symbol of throwing your bottle out, is you've made the choice to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And so these songs feel like that. I've said that to you even in this interview.
Mm-hmm.
These songs feel like I'm ready to let them go,
Mm-hmm.
and let that bottle float out to sea, right?
Yeah.
And see which one comes up for me next.
Yeah. And it's good. Like you have to let those things go. And like you said, you wanted to let them go because you wanted to also find like your true sound when, you really go for those good singles that are going to come up for radio and things like that. So it's nice to just, when we were holding in feelings, it's, unpacking like we did in
Yeah,
Reiki or whatever.
felt like that. And
Yeah.
the moment I submitted them to like be done to the distributor and they're in, I'm like, all right. I felt like, oh yes, like I'm done.
And you were
'Cause you
nervous.
can
You're like,
drive
I'm
yourself
nervous, but
nuts,
like in a good way.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can drive yourself insane. Like, oh, I don't like this little part. It's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
we're so critical of our work, but as someone enjoying or listening, no one's ever gonna look at it like that. Even if 2 weeks I give it, I'm gonna listen and be like, honestly, don't remember any of the stuff that I was like worried about. Let's do that. I like to surprise myself with that.
Yeah. So tell us about the show that's coming up.
Okay, so I had a cool string of things happen, and I love how fate works sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy reaches out to me from a red tie company here. I guess they put together big concerts in Winnipeg, a lot of rock 80s like throwback festivals.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, we've been doing more work with artists, doing live streams. That's kind of the way music's gone for the last year and a half. He's like, we'd love to have you pick a venue and us come and do the production, the show, the TVs, I'm sorry, the cameras and the recording stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, man, sounds great, and I'll let you know. And I'm going to think about doing something like that. I don't really know how to do all that, but I'm like, that actually sounds cool. The next morning, you're like, call me, I have an idea. I was like, okay, cool. So I called you and you're like, I think you need to do a Facebook Live show. Like you need to do some type of release show. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is really weird, but cool. So actually, I'll just make it a long story short. I contacted the guy. I was like, weird timing, but I actually want to do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so we booked the Burt Cummings Theater for April 20th, which is a Tuesday. We're going to do 7 p.m. And yeah, so I'm just waiting for him to basically say the red tie company's cool with it. And we're
Mm-hmm.
on. Like we already have the location. We just need the film guys to okay it.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm going. I'm bringing my own film crew if I can. I got the location, so I'm going. That'll be April 20th. So 4 days after the actual release is when I'll do it.
Yeah, that's an amazing venue too. You got lucky with that for sure.
I did get lucky, and honestly, probably lucky that there's a pandemic, or else it would have not been open. So when I'm there too, I'm really gonna stand on that stage and really manifest. Like I will be back here,
Mm-hmm.
and there will be people like, this will be cool. This will be
Oh, I'm
awesome.
sure of it. I'm totally sure of
Exactly.
it. But everything happens as it should, right? We talk about that all the time. Everything in life is happening as it should. Whatever happens for a reason. It's weird that we were talking about live shows and then this popped up. So it's working in your favor,
It is. And like when it happens like that, you smile because you're like, dude, the world's always talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
It always is. And if you're like listening from the voice of what can I do? And I can.
Yeah.
Then it's like skipping on stones as they're laid in front of you, like just hovering up from the ground, like step here. You're like, oh my God, this is awesome.
That's it. Whatever your mind thinks, it manifests.
It does. And it's so easy sometimes to get out of that and get in a funk, and you don't even realize you're in a funk.
Mm-hmm.
And you just haven't moved though. And then I mean, you have a conversation or you have a Reiki session, like our Reiki session we did together. After that, I was like, I just saw the path in front of me. I'm like, dude, this was right here. Why can I, but it was so blurry with all this stuff, these people, these obligations, these fears, these expectations. And then like, we just went, whoosh. I was like, there it is. This is what I need to do. This is what will help me grow. Let's do this.
Clarity.
And it was like, phew.
That's amazing. I love to hear that though.
It is. Yeah. That was an unreal session.
It's really hard to think clearly when you have so many things in your head that you haven't unpacked, when you're repressing certain things. Just lifting that weight off makes the road so clear.
It does. And honestly, I think that's part of the whole recording process. You're an artist,
Mm-hmm.
You've been through it. Like you're just stressed about this album, you're stressed about the sounds, and you're kind of holding back all the stuff that you haven't dealt with because you're like, I can't actually deal with all that and this at the same time. I need to finish this project, sit down, breathe, let it all rush me, have that like day of panic, you know what I'm saying? And then like figure it out, get clear, figure it out.
Yeah. Well, hence why you did those 2 songs, Off Your Shoulders Now. gonna release
excited
them.
to share. Excited to share them.
Yeah.
Put a lot of good work into those. Really took care with those.
Yeah. So whoever's watching this now and when they're watching it, the links to those songs are going to be in the newsletter that we're sending everybody. And we're also going to have the information for the show too. So having said that, what can the audience expect from the performance that you're going to give at Burton?
Man, I'm bringing my best songs. I'm bringing some songs I haven't even released yet. I think you're going to get a real sense of where I'm headed. Like these next songs I'm going to play are going to be on the album. And I'm bringing a lot of old soul, I think, and a lot of cool twists, though. I think a lot of brightness and a lot of introspection.
Yeah.
I just feel that way right now. I feel that way about life. I feel like very bright. I feel like things are growing and getting better. So it's going to be a good vibe. It's going to be a good feel. And man, I might even bring this electric. Like I've been really messing with it. I want to do some Springsteen with the electric or something. That'd be cool.
I really feel like this upcoming album that you're going to do is really like you coming into your own, like really finding that Drew that you want to be, you know?
Yeah, it is totally.
And still then you're going to keep growing and growing, but I feel like this is going to be a really, really good album.
I agree. I agree with you. I'm so excited. Like, I'm already telling you, like, where's my drummer in here? Like, let's record this.
When can COVID be over so we can all have a jam session, guys? Jeez.
Man, I know. It's gonna be good. Like I'm so sure.
So where can everyone catch this show? We said live stream, but you're gonna put up the link soon in the newsletter. We're gonna have it.
Social media. I'll be on Instagram. Maybe we can link that with this video. Instagram. I'll put on my website. I will put on my Facebook. I will mail it to your house. I will write it on your forehead. I will really everywhere I can put it.
So where can everyone contact you? Tell us what your website is, your Instagram.
All right, yeah. So my Instagram is at Drew_William_Wolitarsky. After Drew William, it should come up by that point. Yeah. If not, it's all good. My website is drewwilliammusic.com. drewwilliammusic.com. And then my I guess that's my email would be drewwilliammusic@yahoo.com. So pretty much the same. Yahoo.com on there.
And we can find you on Spotify.
Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all the other weird little ones. If you're on those, they're on there.
But your name is Drew William on Apple, on Spotify. Let's talk about that a little bit, because Drew, I remember when we were emailing back and forth and Arthur had spelled your name wrong. And you're like, I think this might be a problem with promo. So you decided to go with Drew William. So talk about why you chose Drew William.
Freaking Arthur, man. I'm like, this might not.
He's going to see this and be like, oh, yeah.
Oh, man. So William is my middle name, Michael's name. He passed away recently, and I didn't really ever think that I would call myself Drew William, to be honest with you. But as I was making music and was trying to decide on what I'd even go by, I was like, I think my style is intimate. I think just being myself is what I'll put. But something about William and my grandpa's passing and just trying to separate myself from the sports world, it all kind of was like, this feels right to me.
Yeah.
This is like a different side of me. Still me, but a definitely different side of me. And I'm like, I think that suit me right.
I think it was nice for you to change it a little bit for the music scene versus the sports scene, because Jey Flores really sounds like an athlete, you know? So we want to know Drew William, that other side, that alter ego, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but we're all really excited to see all the new stuff that's coming out for you, and we're always going to work together. So looking forward to, what the future has in store for you.
For sure. Thank you for all your help, man. Can't wait.
You're welcome. So if you want to say any last words to your audience, new audience, anyone watching.
Hey, come jam with me, man. I'm all about the vibes. I'm all about connection. I just love music. I love to share it, man. So if you dig it, give me a follow. Let's make this thing happen. I want to make this thing real. I want to keep sharing music. And I need help, honestly. We all need help. So here I am asking, help me get there. Help me make music, share with you so we can all vibe together.
Amen.
That's it. Amen.
Well, thank you for being here. I love talking to you like always. And we'll see you guys soon.
See you guys. Thanks.
I love that. That's awesome.